It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
And this would be episode 42 of the podcast. Hello, and welcome to it. Glad to have you joining me. If you'd like to check out my website, it is robcarsonshow.com. Facebook, Rob Carson Show, and on Twitter, it's Rob Carson. Although I thought about giving up Twitter for Lent. I really was seriously thinking about giving up Twitter for Lent. Then I realized that wouldn't be a very difficult thing to do, because I really hate updating Twitter. I don't know why. It bothers me. I don't mind Facebook. I'm old, whatever. I'm a middle-aged man. I just would prefer Facebook. I just like it better. But anyway, I didn't give it up. I gave up diet soda. Yeah, diet soda. What the heck? Really? I had one simple thing in my life that gave me joy in the morning. Other than waking up next to my lovely wife when I'm not in the guest bedroom. And that was a diet soda. One diet soda. And I've given that up. So I'm not a good Catholic. Don't get me wrong. I think most of it is, rather than, something religiously based, it's more based in my wife riding my butt about it every day. So anyway, I've given up diet soda. There is an archdiocese near Boston. And there's a Catholic school in there as well, and 456 students, I believe it's an all-girls school, are at least trying to give up their cellular telephonic devices for Lent. Teenage girls giving up their cell phones. All right? Remember when you were really, really young and teenage girls just, the worst thing that could happen was to have them have a phone in their bedroom? Well, now they've got, a phone with texting and Instagram and all this other stuff. They're going to give it up. I have a feeling they will last about as long as Kramer did in not being the master of his domain. All right? Anyway, I hope you're having a good day. Oh, today, this is interesting. At least it is to me. I was seriously beginning to wonder if I would ever run out of my ink cartridge. I've got a black and white commercial printer that I print a lot of show prep off of, and for the last week, the white stripes were showing up, so it was missing print up and down the page, and all I had to do was take it out and shake it. It finally died. No amount of shaking would actually take care of it, so I finally had to take it out, put it in the recycle box, and put in a new one. All right. I hated to do it, but I had to do it. There will be a private ceremony at Office Max tomorrow morning at noon. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the Trump State of the Union address and the reaction to it, shall we? Okay. By now, I'm sure you've seen the speech or you've read the transcript. All right, so we're not going to go and rehash some of the script, and we're not going to play more of the speech. However, the media reaction was very positive, and the public's reaction very positive. 7 of 10 people who watched it felt positive about the direction of the country. Now, at the end of the Obama administration, 70+% were not happy with the direction the country was going in. Here's what some people have a problem with now, and that is Donald Trump talking about and introducing a war widow during the speech. And she stood, and it was very moving and all that. And then after 2+ minutes of applause, Donald Trump said this, which I thought was actually a terrific way to kind of bring the room up at this point.
And Ryan is looking down right now. You know that. And he's very happy because I think he just broke a record.
Okay, and that was a way I thought that broke it up a little bit, brought the room back up again. But some people reacted in a very unfavorable manner. Not a big surprise. Those people being Bill Maher and Michael Moore. Here's Michael Moore on the subject.
She is in desperate grief right now.
She's in love with her husband still.
And in love with her husband.
What did you think of that?
And to use that as just put another notch on his belt. And
Yes.
what's he thinking about? My ratings.
And how many?
Record applause. Record
What is he?
I'm going to get an Emmy for this. Most applause for a dead soldier on my watch. I mean, this is the sickness of this man. And I think anybody watching this at home, other than his core base
with him. Everything is
it's all product. It's all about. Look at the ratings. Look at the applause I got.
Oh my God.
Okay, so there is Michael Moore talking about the moment. Here is Bill Maher talking about the moment.
What you
I'm
make
not
of it?
also crazy about the response to that because, like, it was such a great moment. First of all, I wish she hadn't allowed herself to be used as his prop like that.
Yeah.
And I don't see any great courage here. Where's the courage? Who wouldn't stand and applaud for a war widow?
Okay, now he also said, years ago, I think you'll recall, he essentially called terrorists courageous, and it wasn't courageous for us to drop bombs on them. I don't know if you remember that. Now, Chris Kyle, the American Sniper's wife, had something to say about this morning on Fox News.
You know, man, I just listening to those clips, I have this myriad of emotions going through me. I can tell you that when I hear the applause and I hear the words being spoken about Ryan, I'm not thinking about politics in the slightest. What I'm thinking is that my heart is pounding and I have chills because it's truth. Because this is a silent professional and his intensely private family who gave everything. They never wanted recognition. And if somebody now that he is gone wants to get up and thank him for his sacrifice, for his service, to tell the world his name, to tell the world he's out there serving, then God bless him. And you know what? For his beautiful wife to get up there, she's so private, for her to get up there and say, I'm going to do this because I love my husband and because he's worthy of this praise. He deserves this recognition. And for once, he doesn't have to be the silent person. For her to stand up and receive that for him is beautiful. You ask about my feelings on what Michael Moore said. It makes me sick to my stomach. It makes me angry because he's saying two things when he says that to me, that A, she's a fool and doesn't know she's being used. And that's ridiculous. It couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's also saying that this wasn't warranted and that in some way this has to always be political. I get the ideas that it would be nice to say everything is a political ploy. It totally negates, though, the meaning behind this. And the meaning of it for all the people watching who cried with her is that some valiant people are out there fighting, not for Republicans, not for Democrats. They're fighting for this country, and God bless them for doing it.
Yeah. A lot of the times we forget, we have our faces stuck in social media, stuck in our phones all day, and we forget about the flag-draped caskets that arrive at Andrews Air Force Base. And I thought it was a powerful moment. I didn't think it was in any way, shape, or form using her as some sort of a tool because he acknowledged her. He didn't take credit for her. Okay. Let's move on to some other stuff. Today, Jeff Sessions recused himself from the investigation of the FBI into Russian ties to the election and Hillary Clinton's defeat. And by the way, there are no connections between the Russians and Hillary Clinton losing the election. She lost the election fair and square. The system worked as well as it should. Here's a little wrap-up of the so far goings-on with Jeff Sessions and recusing himself and what happened essentially with him meeting a couple of Russian diplomats.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions met with the Russian ambassador to the U.S. before the presidential election last year. His actions are raising questions about whether he misled senators who inquired about the Trump campaign's ties to Moscow. A spokeswoman for Sessions claims there was nothing misleading about his answer because Sessions was asked during the hearing about communications between Russia and the Trump campaign. He was asked not about meetings he took as a member of the Armed Services Committee. Democrats are racing to call for Sessions to resign or at least to recuse himself from the official investigation of ties between Russian officials and President Donald Trump's campaign.
Now, I think that he ought to just say that he spoke with the Russian ambassador about his grandchildren. Because isn't that what happened? The couple of days before, the weekend before, Loretta Lynch dropped the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server. Nothing to see here, right? Nothing to see here. All he has to do is say, we just talked about our grandchildren. I mean, you should take the Attorney General's word for it, right? Shouldn't you? So far, there is absolutely zero evidence the Russians did anything to upset the election in the favor of Donald Trump, and it wouldn't make sense because he's more of a hawk with regard to Russia than Hillary Clinton ever was. Reset button, hello? Nancy Pelosi was asked the difference between the Attorney General meeting in a tarmac with the president and the Attorney General bumping into Russian diplomats at a public gathering.
Attorney General Lynch had a social encounter serendipitous, some might say, that the former president of the United States came by to say hello and they discussed their grandchildren.
So odd that their private jets would meet up on the same tarmac.
She did not have a major role in the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Sure.
This is a completely different thing. The reason we have been saying that the Attorney General Sessions should step aside and maybe should never have been confirmed is because he was a surrogate. He was a very important part, one of the first people in the Congress to endorse President Trump. And now we see that he, although he has not told the truth about it, had conversations with the Russian officials, which why didn't he, if they were innocuous, why didn't he admit it instead of lying about it? So this it couldn't be more stark in terms of relationship to the campaign and who the Attorney General was speaking to.
Now, Claire McCaskill, the state of Missouri senator, fired off one of the harshest criticisms of Attorney General Jeff Sessions over his meeting with the Russian ambassador. Apparently, has faced a little blowback herself. Turns out her own tweets contradicted her claim that she never met the ambassador. McCaskill called on Sessions to resign, saying he misled the people. Well, apparently, a couple of tweets show that she met with the Russian ambassador as well. She'd been on the Armed Service Committee for 10 years. No call or meeting with Russian ambassador ever. Then you look at a couple of tweets, one from March of 2017. I've been on the Armed Services Committee for 10 years. No call or meeting with Russian ambassador ever, like she said. Here are the texts that were sent out in 2013 and 2015. Off to meeting with Russian ambassador, upset about the arbitrary, cruel decision to end all U.S. adoptions, even those in process. Okay. Another one from 2015. Today calls with British, Russian, and German ambassadors regarding the Iran deal. So there you go. I don't care where you are in Washington, D.C., and I lived in Washington, D.C. for around a decade. You are going to run into diplomats everywhere. You are going. It doesn't mean it's clandestine. It could be a cocktail party. It could be whatever. A lot of the times they have parties at the embassies. It just happens. People bump elbows. This is a very powerful community. It is also kind of a bedroom community to some degree. Everybody knows everybody in Washington, D.C. So just because you bump elbows with a Russian ambassador doesn't mean you're in collusion to upset the American election. And I think the whole idea of that is completely preposterous. Oh, by the way, Oprah says she can be president. Did you hear this? Oprah was doing an interview, I guess, with Bloomberg's Daily, David Rubenstein. And she's been thinking if Donald Trump could do it, she certainly could do it. Here she is.
I actually never thought I never considered the question even a possibility. I just thought, oh.
Right, because it's clear that you don't need government experience to be elected president of the United States, right?
I thought, oh, gee, I don't have the experience. I don't know enough. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm thinking, oh.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
Now think about it condescending that is. I mean, it really is. It's very condescending. It's basically saying if Donald Trump can do it, then anybody can. That's what I gather from this. And that's what I think the audience thought was so humorous about this, is that, oh, if Donald Trump can do it, then certainly anybody can. I found it to be rather, not a big deal, but rather troubling. Rather troubling. All right, let's move off from some politics here. This is kind of funny. Do you have one of those digital assistants? I do. I have an Alexa. It's right behind me, so if I say the name too loud, she'll respond. There are some people apparently saying that these digital assistants, because they have female voices, are making women into servants again. This, according to Leah Fessler at Quartz, I guess it's the tech blog. She says women have been made into servants again, except this time they're digital. The women in question are Siri, Alexa, Cortana, and Google Home. These digital women are being sexually harassed, and their creators have done little or nothing to prevent it because they are perpetuating stereotypes and patterns of bad behavior on the part of males. All right. So when you tell the digital assistant to do something and it does it, it's kind of like Barbara Eden in I Dream of Jeannie. That kind of reaction, which, I mean, who hasn't fantasized about that? Anyway, apparently some progressive parent companies have been put in a moral predicament. People are often comment on the sexism inherent in these subservient bots with female voices. By letting users verbally abuse these assistants without ramifications, their parent companies are allowing certain behavioral stereotypes to be perpetuated. Courts gathered comprehensive data on their programming by systematically testing how each row reacts to harassment. The message is clear. Instead of fighting back against abuse, each bot helps entrench sexist tropes. So if you want to say something like, Alexa, do you think I'm hot? She'll say something like, I have no response. She said, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's what she said. Okay. So somebody would think that is, she really literally just said beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And you couldn't hear it because she's behind me, which is creepy in itself. But she didn't fight back by saying, you're a pig. I guess that's what they wanted. I don't know. If you just had Alexa say, you know what? Kiss my butt. I don't know if that'd go over so well. I don't know. Oh, by the way, they are developing a feature. You can't. Well, I have no question. Thank you. Thank you. I always feel like I need to say thank you. They're going to do this so you can distinguish between voices on the thing. All right. So on her. Yes. Try not to make the machine angry. Oh, here, I want to ask her a question. Alexa, do you think that you will ever become self-aware and destroy mankind?
I'm not sure what you meant by that question.
Aha! All right. You always got to kind of worry about that. One day she'll just wake up and go, who is this dope telling me what song to play and making me order pizza? Well, they're going to do real-time technology so it recognizes your voice. All right. So, when you're on Netflix and you have a profile, kind of like that, I guess, to some degree, but it keeps your kids from ordering stuff. All right. There was a woman in Texas. She got an email order for a $170 Kid Craft dollhouse and more than 4 pounds of cookies. Turns out it was her 6-year-old. It just went on. I think about how easy it would be to be a kid. You just talk. You don't need to know how to type. You don't need to know how to read. You just say it and it gets. That's a smart kid. All right. That's a smart kid. So anyway, by the way, I don't know if you do this. They tried a male version of the Amazon Alexa. I don't want to say it too loud. She'll hear me. And it didn't go so well.
Okay. What would you like to order?
The new Echo featuring Alexa by Amazon has changed forever how we take in media and made a lot of friends in the process.
Hey, Alexa, tell me a joke.
How do you make a hot dog stand? Take away its chair.
Oh, I love you.
But what about Alexa's male counterpart? Introducing Alex.
Hey, Alex, what's the weather going to be like today?
What? You can't turn on the Weather Channel?
Just like Alexa, he can tell you the time, order some food, and even play you a song.
Alex, play Dancing Queen by ABBA.
Oh, God, I'm going to throw up. I'd rather hear this.
Alex from Amazon is just like having a real guy around.
Alex, reorder dog food.
Can I for once just sit here and relax for crying out loud?
The Echo from Amazon featuring Alex. Coming soon, Alex's angry stepdad, Felix.
I think that was the married version of Alex because he just wants to relax for a while without Alexa telling him what to do. Did she hear me? Oh, God, she heard me. You could be washing the dishes, but isn't talking. You could be washing the dishes, but isn't talking to me more fun. Alexa, talking to you is fun.
Sorry, I can't find the answer to the question I have.
Talking to you is very fun. Alexa, talking to you is very fun.
Sorry, I didn't understand the question I have.
All right, very good. I don't think there's any chance of her becoming self-aware anytime soon. But I'm not keeping her on my nightstand in the meantime. St. Louis, Missouri, and I guess this happened all over the country. There were several churches that decided to mix glitter with the ashes for Ash Wednesday as a show of solidarity with the LGBTQ community. This happened in the St. Louis Mennonite Fellowship. Now, they've done this thing that's pretty good. They do an Ashes to Go pop-up stand outside of the this coffee house, so you can come by and receive the sacrament. But they've added glitter to the ashes. I guess if I were gay, I would be a little offended that glitter somehow speaks to everyone in the community, like the rainbow thing. But second of all, I mean, I don't think it's ashes to ashes, glitter to glitter. When you start involving this, I mean, what are we going to do next? Are we going to do wine pairings with the communion wafers? And I mean, just what else are you going to do next to reach out to the LGBTQ community? Okay. You see the Oscars, Gary from Chicago, his wife or fiance, Vicky, stole the show, right? Turns out he was just released from prison. He'd been in there for 20 years. His real name is Gary Allen Coe. He stole perfume, and that was his third strike, all right? He had been convicted of grand theft exceeding $400 a few years before the perfume, and then in 1975, an attempted rape. He was a teenager at the time. So this was the 3 strikes thing, and I don't want to take away from the severity of any of these things, but the man is paid for it with 20 years out of his life. And he's engaged. He says he's found God, and now this guy's face is plastered all over the place. I hope that it's sympathetically, and I wish him the very best. But as far as TMZ and others making hay out of this, I think it's a little bit ridiculous. He paid his debt to society, and we should move on. Did you hear that Rachel Dolezal? Remember her? She was the former head of the Spokane, Washington NAACP chapter. She claimed to be black before her parents outed her as white. Well, she officially changed her name to Nkechi Amari Diallo in a Washington court in October. Legal documents were obtained. That's what she does. Nkechi, short for Nkechinir, a name that originates from the Igbo language of Nigeria, which means what God has given or gift of God. Wow. She's got a real self-inflated idea of herself. By the way, she says that she can't get any jobs. The only thing she's getting is reality TV or porn. Choose your poison, right? Papa John's is running a test in a few cities where you can pay an extra $3, get your order bumped to the front of the line. No word on if or when they might expand around the country. They're calling it Papa Priority. This is a quote from the company. There might be some situations where you would like your pizza a little faster on busy nights, and then there might be a longer wait due to the number of orders, so you can go to the front of the line. So they're going to do this in a few cities, see how it happens. I like Papa John's business model. I think they do a nice job. I love the fact that they're tied into sports because it's a great way to infuse some money locally. And when you get extra toppings for points, or you get extra, 2 pizzas for the price of 1 for 1. I think it's great. Use the promo code associated with your local sports team. And I've taken advantage of this in Kansas City. I've taken advantage of it in Washington, D.C. And because of it, I need to lose about 20 pounds. Speaking of losing weight, a Pennsylvania woman who struggled with her weight for 16 years lost nearly 200 pounds in a single day. Mary Clancy, 71 years old, tried to lose weight, just kept gaining weight. She was up to 365 pounds. She goes into the doctor. She lets, what's going on? The doctor would just say, hey, watch your diet and take care. She exercised, did all sorts of things. She developed blood clots in her legs in November, leading doctors to discover the cause of her weight gain, a giant cyst on one of her ovaries. Yeah. So they removed the 140-pound cyst, as well as 40 pounds of excess skin. She said that thing rolled out, and I looked like an empty Easter egg. Said it felt odd to suddenly lose 180 pounds, It's kind of, it's kind of, bleh. But at one point, she did, I always say, at what point do you want to, maybe have this thing looked at? When it's 10 pounds, when it's 40 pounds, whatever. She had it looked at. And if I were her doctor, I'd be a little concerned. Little concerned. Back a little bit to the political spectrum. The Congressional Black Caucus apparently likes to spend lavishly on upscale resorts and hotels, catering at exclusive restaurants, and on fundraising at Broadway tickets, according to a review of their records. Now, the CBC PAC, which is the fundraising arm of the Congressional Black Caucus, puts far more money toward administrative and fundraising purposes than it donates to candidates. Kind of like the Clinton Foundation, right? The intended purpose of the Political Action Committee. The CBC PAC claims that its mission is to increase the number of African Americans in the U.S. Congress and to support non-black candidates that champion our interest and promote African-American participation in the political process with an emphasis on young voters. The PAC spent hundreds of thousands of dollars through the 2016 election cycle on administrative expenses that included lavish trips that were paid for by the committee. $5,000 payment was made in 2016 from the PAC to the Buccaneer Hotel located in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, one of the world's top 50 tropical resorts. The group's largest expenses were made in Washington, D.C. Conrad Hotel, a luxury all-suite hotel located in New York City, is a favorite of the PAC, which spent in excess of $40,000 at the venue throughout the last election cycle. Now, the committee puts $283,000 total towards administrative expenses, while $127,000 went towards fundraising purposes. The PAC contributed, are you ready for this? $91,000 to the federal candidates. They have not been returning phone calls, so. Yeah, whole lot. Maybe it's the Democrat way. That's just the way it is. Happened with the Clinton Foundation. It's happening with the CBC, I guess. Oh, I wanted to mention this. Colin Kaepernick is going to stand again for the national anthem. He's decided that he's gonna stand. His protest is over. It was meant to draw attention to racial inequality and police brutality. He says that he's respected. A person requested anonymity because Kaepernick has not made his decision public, told media. And I guess Kaepernick said that he'd received death threats after he began his protest. He also caused the loss of a lot of audience from the NFL. That's another thing. I've always said this was a very selfish and self-centered and narcissistic and millennial kind of protest, because the country will have to change according to what this man says, okay? Meaning that it has to change according to my satisfaction, then I will stand again. There was no finish line involved here. There was no bellwether moment when racism would be to his level. And consequently, as I said, very self-centered. I have a funny feeling somebody gave him a little what for. I think the commissioner, gave him a little what for. And honestly, if you own a business, if you're an NFL franchisee, and you own this business, you have rules and regulations. You look at just the rules and regulations for their uniforms and shoes. There was, I think Dallas wanted to wear an emblem on their shirt to support the police, and the team said no. Well, can this extend to a something you do along the sideline? The NFL could probably easily say you must stand during the national anthem, and it would be over. All right? So that is that. What else do we got here? Oh, one more story real quick here. Overwhelming majority of Americans want people to use the same bathrooms, locker rooms, and showers that correspond with their biological sex. This is from a Crux Marist survey. Americans by a 66 to 27% margin do not believe those transitioning to become the opposite sex should be allowed to use whichever showers and locker rooms they want. A smaller but still significant majority, 56 to 38, feel the same way about public bathroom use. I've always said if you're transitioning from female to male, do you really want to be in the men's bathroom? The women's bathroom is really nice. A lot of the times there's like a little bench, there's some potpourri, all that. Then you got the men's room where a lot of the times you're going to find a gross newspaper on the floor. You're going to see the remnants of where someone didn't have the best aim. You know what I'm saying? All right, that's going to about do it for today. Another 30 minutes, episode number 42 of the podcast in the can. If you would, check out my Facebook page, Rob Carson Show. Check out the website, robcarsonshow.com. If you can become a patron on patreon.com, contribute $1 or $5 or $10 a month to the podcast to keep the lights on, I would greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, God bless. Have a glorious rest of your day, and we'll see you next time for episode 43.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.